Hi everyone, it's Gina K from Gina K Designs, and I'm so excited to be here celebrating STAMPtember with Simon Says Stamp. STAMPtember is a month-long event featuring fun collaboration stamp sets with lots of your favorite stamp companies. The stamp sets are limited editions and only available while supplies last. I couldn't be more honored to be included in this fun and festive event. My stamp set is called Festive Flower. The main image in this set is a huge poinsettia flower, and it's almost as big as my hand. There are also lots of smaller bits and pieces that will work beautifully in the Mega Wreath Builder, the original Wreath Builder, or to use for beautiful holiday backgrounds. And there are 3 huge holiday greetings included as well. For my card today, I thought I would show you a quick and easy way to color this big poinsettia flower. I'm going to start with a piece of 3 3/4 inch by 5 inch cardstock, and I'm going to use my embossing magic pad over the surface of the cardstock. Then I'm going to slip it into the corner of my MISTI. Now I'm going to take this large poinsettia flower off the stamp sheet, and I'm going to place it so that it's coming in from the top left-hand quarter. And look at how big that thing is. It's a huge stamp. So I'm going to bring it in from the top left-hand corner, and I'm going to just place it so that there's enough room left at the bottom for my greeting. Now once I have that in place, I'm going to ink it up using some of the Gina K Designs Embossing and WATERMARK ink. This ink is great for your embossing powders, and it's also a great choice if you just want to leave a nice watermark behind, or you want to use some of the powders such as Pearl X or Perfect Pearls. Now I'm going to ink up this stamp really well because it's big and I want to make sure that I don't miss any spots. And then once I have it inked up, I'm going to stamp it onto the piece of cardstock. I really want to give this some extra pressure, and I really want to rub all over the surface to make sure I don't miss any spots. Now I'm going to use some of the Gina K Designs Fine Detail White Embossing Powder. I recommend using a fine detail powder on this image because the lines are very detailed, very fine, and you don't want to lose any of that detail. I'm going to heat up that embossing powder using my Wagner heat tool. And I always like to heat it up just a few seconds before I actually put it up against the paper. It helps the embossing powder melt more quickly. Now I'm going to ink up one of these Picket Fence Studios life-changing brushes with some Gina K Designs Ocean Mist ink. And that's a fun way to ink up a brush when you're using an ink cube. I'm going to start in the middle of the design and work my way out. I'm starting with the heaviest hand in the center, and then I'm getting lighter as I go toward the little branches and twigs that extend past the flower design. And I'm using a circular motion to make sure that the ink is blended smoothly and you don't see any kind of lines or anything from the ink, that it's just a wash of light aqua color. Now once that's done, I'm going to take a paper towel and just rub over the surface to make sure I pick up any ink that was resting on the embossing powder. Now it's time to color this image. So I am using some of the Zig Clean Color brush markers, and all of the colors are listed over on the Simon Says Stamp blog. So if you want to know what colors I'm using, you can find them there again. This is the blue haze, and I'm going to use this first by coloring in all of the little leaves and berries and just the small little areas of the pine needles that are extending outside of the flower design. This is a fantastic color to match with the Ocean Mist ink. It really does just leave a haze of color behind, and it kind of turns that aqua ink a little bit of a soft violet, and they blend really nicely together. I think I said blue haze, but it's actually called haze blue. And you can see it really does just leave a haze over the image. Such a pretty color. So I'm going to continue to color all of these little areas in, and because I'm using these Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, they come to a super fine tip, and I can just get that tip right into these tiny little areas of the pine needles. So I really like these markers for this type of coloring. That fine detail tip really makes this easy. So I'm going to continue to color all of these branches and twigs that are extending outside of the flower. And then once all of that's done, then I'm going to color the flower itself. So I'm going to do that by quickly just kind of coloring along the lines of the petals. So inside those petals, you see all of those little lines, and I am just running that brush marker gently down each line. And you can see it just deepens that aqua color just enough, and as it dries, it almost fades back into the flower without leaving a very obvious stroke of color. And actually, I'm going to go over this twice because I do want to deepen the color a little bit. So you'll notice when I'm completely done, the color looks even deeper than it looks as I'm coloring now. And all I did was just go back over those same lines and just add that haze blue color over each of the petals next to the lines as they're drawn there on the flower. So I'm just finishing that up, and you can see how by adding that little bit of blue onto the aqua, onto that ocean mist ink, it really makes that flower stand out. You can just see how much it stands out now that I've added that little bit of shading. And I'm not using any special inking technique, it's just coloring along the lines. So now I'm going to color the leaves, and the color that I'm using is the green shadow. And this again is one of those very, very light pale colors that's not going to look drastic when it's colored, but it's just going to change that ocean mist into a hint more green toned color on those leaves. So now I'm adding all of that color, but you can see I'm not really going to the very edge of each leaf. I'm just kind of going where the darkest amount of ocean mist ink was blended onto the leaves. And again, just kind of highlighting each one of the lines in each of the leaves to accentuate them. And you can see now I have that beautiful bluish purple from the haze blue and that minty green from the green shadow. Take a closer look there. So now I am going to use one more color. I'm going to use a very dark gray, and this color is called blue gray, and I'm going to color in the center, the little dots that are in the center of this poinsettia flower. When I first did this, I thought that the color looked a little bit too dark for that soft, kind of hazy color that the haze blue and the green shadow left behind. But then I also decided that I wanted to add a little bit of glitter to it, and that will soften it up. You'll see that at the end. So now I'm going to add my greeting. I'm going to again use the Gina K Designs Embossing and Watermark ink, and I'm going to ink the greeting up along the bottom of the card. Now for this sample, I used the Happy Holidays, but for my original card, I used the Merry Christmas greeting. And depending on which greeting you want to use, you just want to make sure you leave enough room at the bottom for it. Now I'm going to sprinkle that embossing powder on there again, and I'm going to heat that up with my Wagner heat tool. Now once that's all heated up, once again I'm going to use my Ocean Mist ink cube and rub that over the surface of my Picket Fence Studios life-changing brushes, and I'm going to just accent the beautiful script in the words Happy Holidays. So I'm just accenting that color using the ocean mist by doing a circular motion over the words. Now when I looked at this color, I thought that it looked a little bit too blue compared to what the top looked like. So I'm going to gray it up a little bit by using some Gina K Designs Soft Stone. This also creates a nice shadow along the words, and it makes the words look a little bit more three-dimensional. And I'm just putting those just in the center on the words. Now I'm going to add one more thing. I'm going to go back to the HAZE blue marker, and I'm going to add some lines along the sides. You can see how that just makes the words look even more three-dimensional just by adding a little bit of that brush marker right along the right sides of the letters. And depending on how heavy-handed you are with your ink, you'll be able to see this even more if you go a little bit lighter than I did with your ink. So now I'm going to adhere this card together with some panels. I have a soft stone panel here, and I'm going to layer that onto the soft stone. I do like to use a little extra tape whenever I use a watercolor type of marker. Even though I'm not using watercolor paper, the watercolor markers can warp the paper a little bit, so by using a little extra tape you prevent that. And then I'm going to adhere that gray panel onto my 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 folded note card. And this is a top fold note card, and you can do it either side fold or top fold. Now I have a Quickie glue pen, and what I'm going to do with this is I'm just going to color in over the areas that I colored with that blue-gray marker. And the Quickie glue pen is a great way to add glitter into tiny, tiny little areas because it's glue, but it comes out of a ballpoint pen, so it's very, very precise. If you don't have one of these, you can also use the Gina K Designs Connect glue and just dip a toothpick in it, and you can just put it exactly where you want it. Now I'm using some of the Gina K Designs Prismatic glitter. This color is called Frozen, and I'm just putting that right over the center of the flower and just shaking it back into the jar. And so you can see that little bit of sparkle and shine and how that glitter softened the look of the blue-gray marker. So here's my original card that I made with the Merry Christmas greeting, and then the one on the right with the Happy Holidays. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's card project, and I hope you'll give this quick and easy technique a try. It's a great technique for coloring when mass-producing holiday cards for everyone on your list. The Festive Flower Stamp Set is now available at SimonsSaysStamp.com, but it's only available for a limited time. Once it's gone, it's gone. So head over to Simon Says Stamp now to get yours, and I can't wait to see what you make. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon.